I'm so glad that you're joining us today because we have such a busy life, especially us Westerners. You know, what's really sad to me is that we make it busy, okay? I'm not talking about the things that kids need to do, and I'm not talking about homework. I'm not talking about making meals and taking care of the house. Every culture does that. But what I'm talking about is how much time we invest in the screen and on our phone and watching ungodly TV. You should watch as much of Daystar as possible, of course. But ungodly television and ungodly entertainment, and instead of just being the way we were made, to be outside, to be playing with our children, to enjoy life, to be able to feel the presence of God. You know, peace is actually a result. It's not something that just happens to you. It's a result. And so I want to share with you, out of Psalm 1, I love that David, he wrote all these Psalms, but in the first Psalm, he talked about us being planted by the rivers of water. And I really believe that when we succor, when we get in the presence of God, when we live with the presence of God, when we walk in the presence of the God, in the New Testament it says walking in the Spirit, same kind of language, that we can actually experience peace. Because peace comes from whose we are, not who we are. It doesn't come from our circumstances. It comes from who we walk with. I'm sure the disciples, when they walked in the boat, they didn't think they were going to have any challenges with peace until the storms came. And then they got concerned about the storm. And they're like getting a little frustrated with Jesus, like he's sleeping. How does this guy sleep through a storm? I mean, Jesus wasn't a fisherman, and all these guys were trained, not all of them, but some of them were trained fishermen, and they should have been cool in a storm, like they've been through storms before, right? But here we are, the King of Glory is just sitting in the boat, chilled out, not missing a nap at all, and enjoying his life. And then Jesus gets up, and he says, oh my gosh, come on, guys. And he just speaks to the water, says, peace, be still, be still. And I think sometimes we need that word of the Lord to be still. Doesn't matter what the storm is, it matters who's in the boat. And if Jesus is inside your heart, you can have peace anytime you want. So sometimes when we get anxious or concerned or overwhelmed or frustrated, and I'm talking about emotions that sometimes we don't even have words for. We just, right? We kind of make animal noises at ourselves, right? When you're in that place, oftentimes you've stepped away from the discipline of practicing peace, of being in the presence, in the boat with the Most High God, and knowing that you're a little lamb and you're a little child who's in the arms of a really big God, and he's got the big stuff, he thinks about the little stuff, and I'm gonna be my little sheep today, I'm gonna do my little things today, and it's gonna make a contribution in the kingdom somehow, but I'm at peace with it. See, peace is a result of living close, okay? The little sheep who can't fight, okay, can't run fast, isn't that bright, has no concern about where she is, as long as she can hear the master's voice. And if she can hear the master's voice, oh, that little sheep's just so happy and calm. It's like, it doesn't matter what pasture I'm in. It doesn't even matter if I hear a wolf out there in the distance, because I know my shepherd, he's got this, because nobody's better than my shepherd. And that little sheep just walks down the path and has a really good day. Well, I want to start sharing a couple of scriptures with you, but I really want you to get the heart of peace. The heart of peace comes from the presence of peace. And the person of peace is the Lord Jesus Christ. He's not only paid for the peace of the world, he's paid for the peace of our day, of our moment. And sometimes we just have to stop and say, Lord, I'm choosing peace with you. I'm choosing trust with you. Because when I trust somebody, I'm an employer, I have companies. And if I have a really good employee and I trust them, when I give them a task, I have peace, okay? And so get close to the Lord, because he can handle whatever you've got, and give it to him. And just say, Lord, I trust you with that. And in that trust exchange, you will experience peace. Trust the Lord with all of your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. Why is that? Because we don't understand a lot, okay? And when we do that and we move on to him and we trust him with all of our heart, I'm telling you, the peace of God will just come on you. Sometimes I have to go out in my backyard, okay, and Joni's still asleep, and I go out there and I say, okay, Lord, I'm giving this to you because I'm not carrying this. I have to give this to you. And as soon as I release whatever that is, whether it's a project or a person or a situation, I walk in peace knowing that the Father, the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, who is one, brighter than me. Number two, more creative than me, more powerful than me. And I could go on and I would lose too many fingers, right? He is amazing. And when I trust his amazingness in situations, Dr. Doug has peace. And it's not about just me, it's you. When we go out in our backyard and we say, Lord, I'm going to cast all my burdens on you, peace is a result of that exchange. I'm trying to share something with you. That peace is a result of being close to the living God. Peace is a result of trusting the living God. Peace is a result of giving it to the living God. And when you do that, peace comes in. See, sometimes people think peace is something, if they just navel gaze long enough, that they're going to get peace. And I'll get into practicing peace in a minute. But it's bigger than that. Your heart lives in peace when it lives in the world where there is a God and it's not you. If you here, you want to practice something, just to pretend to be God for a moment and just think about taking care of one city. You'll get really crazy anxious, okay? You'll get crazy stressed out. You'll get crazy overwhelmed because we're not designed for the big stuff. We're not. We're not designed to be in the future. If you are robbing yourself of peace in the present because your heart and your mind and your imagination are all in the future of what ifs, and if you're one of those negative people, like, well, what if this goes wrong? What about the election? What about sickness? What about disease? What about my neighbor's problems? What about my sister-in-law's problems? What about my dog's problems? And you're getting into the future about all of that stuff. You deserve not to have peace. Why? He's not there. He's not there in the future. Why? Because he's walking in the present with you. And when he walks in the present with you and you hold his hand, you know, I've never had God tell me to be concerned about tomorrow. Now, sometimes he'll give me a hint like, hey, tomorrow I'm going to bless you with something, or tomorrow I want you to give this word to somebody. Okay, that's fine. But he doesn't live in the future with us. He lives in the present. He's the God of I am. I am is present. I will be is future. God never defines himself as I will be, okay? He defines himself as I am. And so if you're walking in a situation in your life right now, I want to encourage you, maybe just to bow your head and pray, Lord, I give this to you. Lord, I'm going to trust you. Lord, I want to stay in the present. And I understand that's a challenge because I know people generally have one disposition where they're either in the past, the present past, where they use their present to stay in the past, or they're in the present, that's the person just one day at a time. And then there's the person who's present future. And I tend to be that guy too. I understand that, but I have to be in peace. I can't go there in a negative way. I'm allowed to dream, I'm allowed to have that with him, but I'm not allowed to take burdens into the future. So right now, as we're talking about this all over the world, I want you to lay down your burden. And if anything in your future is giving you a lack of peace, I want you to say, Lord Jesus, forgive me. I'm carrying something in tomorrow's day, and you told me there's enough trouble in one day to live one day at a time, because that daily living with him is what brings us the peace of God. See, we don't need tomorrow to have peace. Today is a day of peace because today is where he is. So I encourage you, as we continue to talk about being still, that you just lay your burdens down.
For more content and resources to help in your healing journey with Christ, make sure to follow Dr. Doug Weiss on Facebook and Instagram. If you'd like to share full episodes of this show with friends and family, subscribe to Healing Time Ministries on YouTube, and feel free to leave us a comment on any of Dr. Doug's social media platforms. Our team would love to hear your feedback and learn how Healing Time is impacting your life, your church, and your ministry.